It's a week after my water heater disaster, and I am happy to report the repairs are holding. My water supply is doing just fine. So, yeah, I will deem all of these repairs a success, at least for the time being. However, I'd like to show you something that is probably not related to any of this, but I really can't be sure. This is my water meter. During last week's episode, repairing all that plumbing fiasco I had going on, I was out here quite a bit, checking it, turning the water supply on and off, and just kind of keeping track of things. In all the trips I made out here, I never noticed anything unusual around this area. But after all was said and done, I had the repairs made and everything was doing okay as far as the water supply in my house was going on. One afternoon, I got in the Equinox. I was going to run it to the store or something. And as I drive by, I notice in the ditch, there's this huge hole full of water. Right next to my water meter. I think it's safe to assume my water line goes right about through that area and connecting to the main, which is under the street. Now, I guarantee that in all my trips to look at this was not there. It's like it appeared overnight. I'm really hoping my local utility dug it, but I have no idea why. And there's really no way I can think of that any kind of problem there, which, let me note, it's on the utilities side of my water meter, so it's not my responsibility. And I don't see how any problem there could have anything to do with the problem that I had, which was based on structural failure. The floor gave way. Still, it's an interesting coincidence that I had all those problems, and now I had this huge hole in the drainage ditch next to my water meter, and I'm not really sure where it came from or why it's there. It's pretty obvious from the shape and from the area around it that it was dug with a backhoe. So I just have to assume the utility did it. I think I need to call them, find out what's going on. This could get really interesting. I'll let you know what I find out. Wow. I always thought it'd be cool to have a swimming hole, but this is not quite what I had in mind. Hi, and welcome back to the MT and me. And I'm obviously not around the MT. Nope, you've caught me at work once again because I have a little problem with satellite reception that I'm having to deal with this week, so I thought I'd carry you along for company, like it or not. Like most radio and television stations nowadays, a big chunk of our programming comes via satellite. It used to be a really big thing. Now you've probably got a dish on your house somewhere picking up television signals. Well, we get our broadcast signals pretty much the same way. We just use bigger dishes. We have two satellite dishes here. Our main dish recently developed a little bit of an issue. We think It's a problem with what you call the LMB, low noise baseband amplifier, if you want to get technical. It has a little dropout now and then. Well, that's not too bad on some programming, but when you're listening to music, it can be a real drag. So, my focus today is on this dish right here. This is our secondary dish, backup as you would have it. And we weren't even sure if it would work. But my boss and I spent a whole day bustling around and finally got it to give a signal. Not as strong as the bigger one, but that's to be expected. And now we've got our music programming coming off this dish because it sounds better. There's no dropouts. However, this dish needs a little bit of attention, and that's why I'm out here today. You remember a couple of times I've had to get out and clean Pearl. First of all, when we first got her, and then again a couple of years later because of lichen growing, especially on the fiberglass parts of the overcab area. That lichen is something that kind of tends to come back. And I think that's what I have here on this dish. You can see all these spots that are located. Now, this dish is mesh aluminum, and I'm really not sure if the lichen is affecting the signal or not. Truth be known, it probably doesn't make any difference as far as reception goes, at least not at the level it is right now. But it looks ugly, and although we don't have a line of people coming through to look at our satellite dishes, I have to see the thing. So I'd like to have it as clean as possible. So today we're going to give it a lichen treatment. Now, you may remember the last time we did Pearl, I had a liquid called Wet and Forget. It is designed to treat lichen and mold and mildew. You basically just spray it on, soak it real good, and then let it go. And it takes care of the problem. I'm going to put some of that on this dish and do a little brush scrubbing to get it in real good, and then just let it set for a while and see if that solves my problem. So, I have a solution of Wet and Forget, and I've got a good stiff bristle brush with a long arm so I can reach the hard parts of that dish to get to, and we're going to see what we can accomplish today. You know, this is taking a lot more off than I actually thought it would. Most of it's the leafy part, so it's still leaving spots, but a lot of the dimensional part of it, like I said, the leafy, is coming off. So I think if I keep working on that to get as much of that off as I can, and then we'll just spray down the spots that are left, let them sit in the weather, the sunshine and the rain, see if it'll take care of the rest. It'll be an improvement at least. Man, I want to hurry up and finish. It's getting hot out here. All right, I think I have just about as much as I can scrape off. And I've worked just about as much as I can in this heat out here. So we're gonna spray it down good one more time, call it a day. All right, that is pretty well soaked. Now let's see if we can't find a cooler, shadier place to talk a little bit more. Whew. It is warm. You can tell that summertime is here. Anyway, so that takes care of our wet and forget treatment on the dish antenna. Now, the stuff worked really good on Pearl. One thing we did in treating Pearl that I didn't do here, mainly because I forgot about it until I'd already started, was we treated the areas with vinegar and then brushed that in real good. There's something in the molecular structure of lichen. It's kind of part fungus and part algae, and the vinegar gets in there and breaks the seal on basically the skin of the life form, because it's alive. It's a plant, kind of. It breaks that and allows that wet and forget to get inside and actually attack the life itself and help get rid of the I don't know what you call it, infestation maybe. Anyway, the patch of lichen that you have. So I didn't do that, but I did brush it really good with that stiff brush before I applied any of the liquid. So hopefully that brushing, even without the vinegar, will help to break that down a little bit. Time will tell. I brushed it. I got a lot of it off, more really than I thought I would. And now we've got it brushed down. I'm just going to let it soak, let it set out here in the weather. It's going to be sunny and hot for the next few days, and several days before we get any rain, probably. So sometime next week or the next, I'll go out and check and see what it's looking like. In the meantime, I think I'll go inside now and see if what I did today made any difference in signal levels coming in on that satellite dish, because that ultimately is the reason we're doing this. So, okay, before we did anything to the dish today, we were looking at an RF level of about 42 to 44 and an EB noise level 10.1, 10.2, maybe as high as 10.3. And now that we did the lichen treatment, things haven't changed that much. Still looking at RF levels of 42, 43, and noise levels of about 10.3, something like that. So, we didn't make a whole lot of difference today with the cleaning of the dish, but the numbers are okay the way they are. Not complaining about them at all. And we'll let the dish sit out there in the weather for a while, see if any more of that lichen stuff comes off. If it does, I really don't expect it to make a difference in here. But at least it'll look nicer. But the real important thing is our satellite music feeds sound great. No dropouts. And that is what we were really trying to fix. So, all that work on the Lichen on the satellite dish at work got me to thinking, maybe I should check Pearl, since I've put this heavy tarp on her. I really haven't, well, we've looked under the back, about a month and a half ago, we were working on those bolts. And so I had the tarp pulled back there to do some work. And that part of the roof was fine. Trouble is, that's the aluminum part. It didn't have lichen on it in the first place. The lichen problem was up here on this fiberglass overcab area. Because from right here forward, this is all one-piece fiberglass. It's one of the things I loved about the Mobile Traveler design, that although the exterior parts were covered in aluminum, the overcab, these areas right here, these wings as they call them, are all fiberglass. Very durable, very tough, and apparently very likely to develop a lichen problem. They like lichen. Anyway, that's where the lichen was. So, come out here today, on another hot day I might add. Let's pull this tarp back from the fiberglass overcab and just see what it looks like underneath. Wow, it looks great. Some of the worst lichen is right in this area. And I really don't see a trace of it there anymore. So it looks like giving it the treatment and then spraying it down and just letting the wet and forget do its thing really did its thing. No lichen. And of course, keeping it covered with a tarp is also helping as well, I'm sure. So, wow, I am very, very pleased. It has done a fantastic job here on Pearl of getting the lichen off and keeping it off. And that makes me even more optimistic that it's going to clean my antennas at work eventually. So, I was, kind of sort of prepared to come home and find lichen up there and tell you that, well, I guess next week we're going to be doing some additional treatments on the top of Pearl. Apparently, that's not going to be necessary. Yay! So on that happy note, I guess we're going to wrap things up for this week. Thanks for going back to work with me. At least we managed to get Pearl in the movie this week. Had a little cameo appearance right at the end here. And we also found out that, well, with so much to do on Pearl, like, okay, you may have noticed that a lot of the plastic is starting to come off. You could see it just now as I was taking the tarp back and everything. So there's that. There's all the work inside. There's getting the motor running. Still got to check out the brakes and the transmission and this and that and yada yada. And oh my goodness, I get overwhelmed sometimes. With all of those things still to be done, it's kind of nice to pull the tarp back and find something that I don't have to do, that I thought I might. So, I'm feeling good. I guess I can go in and cool off again, because I tell you what, in this hot weather, it's tough to get out here and do anything for more than a couple of minutes, at least for an old man like me. So, before I go in and chill out, I want to thank you for chilling here for the last half hour or so with me on the MT and me. If you look down below, you'll find a link to subscribe. Surely you have done that already. But apparently, only about 180 something of you have. And I know there's more of you out there. So if you haven't subscribed, click it. I want thumbs ups. Please give me those as well. That makes YouTube smile. And that makes me smile. You'll also find a link to the mtandme.com, link where you can buy me a coffee, help with the Pearl Restoration Project, and all kinds of other stuff down there too, okay? So, you, my loyal nomies, are one of the main reasons that keep me going on this project. Thank you so much for being here each and every week. I would love to hear from you. There's a big place below where you can do comments. Just say, yay, Russ. Or you can go, Russ, what the are you doing? Whatever you want to comment. It's good with me. I just want to hear from you. Let me know what you're thinking, okay? And keep watching. We'll be back next week here with another Pearl adventure. Unless something else breaks. You're on the MT and me. Okay, I'm getting heat happy, so we're going to call it. Thank you so much once again. I love you, my gnomes. Have a good week. I'm Russ. We will talk